Hello and welcome to yet another top 10 video. I'm sort of, maybe a one-trick pony, right? But I actually do enjoy these videos, and I think it's the autistic part of me. I just like to rank things because it just makes me feel good inside. That being the case, I got a new one for you, something that I was thinking of along with a friend at work who's a frequent visitor of my channel, and we were talking, what are the greatest games that are not out right now but should be, that would be instant money, right? That would be instant money for a developer to release. So I guess what we'll call this video is the top 10 mountains of money game companies refuse to collect on. It's the best way to put it. And these are games that I want to make it very clear with the games on this list. It's not games that are officially slated, games that are officially said to be worked on. Like GTA 6 would not be on this list because we know they're working on it. Elder Scrolls 6 is not on this list because we know for a fact it's being worked on. It might not come out for another 20 years, but we know, so things that we know it actually exists somewhere on a hard drive somewhere, it's just not finished, that doesn't get included in this list. It's only games that we have no absolute proof are ever going to come out here in the States. There's a couple games in here that are on this list that are already out overseas. Well, there's two of them. They're already out overseas. We just don't have them in America. But if we did, it would be a mountain of money. So we're going to do that first before anything. So enough rambling. Let's get on with that video, right? And I do apologize for the air conditioner running in the background. It's 98 degrees. I am hot. My house has central air. But in my computer room with 3 computers, 5 TVs, and a bunch of consoles running, it gets a little warm. So, yeah. Anyway, starting with number 10, this is something that I'm pretty passionate about, and a lot of people within the games community are passionate about. Persona 1 Remake. Or I should say Remaster. Now, I know what you're saying, but there already is a remaster of Persona 1 for the PSP. That is correct. But the vast majority of the Persona 1 community who prefers Persona 1 over all other Personas, we don't like it. The music was changed. There's a hack that actually changes the music back in the ROM, which is a very popular hack. But one of the major problems we have with that one is we don't like the music, we don't like the gameplay, they changed too much. We still want the old Persona, the fans still want the old Persona, but they want nothing changed, they just want a flat remaster. There's a guy working, I think it might be Gemini himself, but there's a guy working on doing that now, that they're going to translate the Japanese ISO, the original Japanese PlayStation 1 release, and they're going to release it. They're translating the whole thing from scratch. I know, you're probably thinking, like, why not play the American one? Well, the American one has no Ice Snow Queen quest, and it's censored to heck. It's too easy, and Mark is a black guy for some reason. Right? He's supposed to be white. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. So that to me is, that would be a lot of money. If they did what they really should do, to be honest, is remake the first 2 Persona games. And when I say the second one, I also mean Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment, both. What they should do is remake them in a modern engine, like in PS3 Reload's engine. They ought to just remake them, but keep the gameplay the same. So, but they won't. But it would be money in the bank. It would be so money in the bank. For the hardcore Mega 10 fans like me that don't like modern Persona, it would be great. Okay, so that's number 10. Number 9, here's another game that would be money in the bank, and you don't have to do much for it. That's an official Dragon Quest X US release. See, there's a lot of Dragon Quest fans out there, like me, who want an official release of DQ10. Now, I know what you're saying. There is a partial English patch for the ROM. here's the thing. I don't want to play it on an emulator. I want to play it on an actual console system, or hell, maybe even Steam. Can you imagine if they released DQ10 for the Switch 2 or PS5 or something? I just don't understand why they don't. I mean, it's a nice, simple online game. Heck, just make people pay monthly for it if you want to recoup some losses you think that you would take bringing it out over here. It's the one mainline Dragon Quest game that you can't play in the US right now. It's the only one. From 1 to 11, you can play any Dragon Quest game on multiple platforms. Most of them, I think, are available on Steam right now. Except for, well, the middle ones aren't, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's very easy to play them, so why don't we have 10? To me, that's money left on the table. I mean, it would... People tell me the Dragon Quest is just not liked in America. I beg to differ. The sales for Dragon Quest X were actually very robust. The sales for Dragon Quest Heroes were pretty good. I mean, does it do Final Fantasy level style money? No, it doesn't. But then again, what really does, right? I mean, the RPG is a niche genre anyway, so you don't really have to do much. Just translate the damn thing and then slap it over. You don't have to do any kind of remastering. You don't have to do, just port it to the Switch 2, right? It's the same basic architecture. But I digress. Okay. Coming in at number 8, and now we're getting them things that will really make some money. Number 8 is also an online game. Phantasy Star Online multi-platform re-release with online multiplayer restored. This, to me, is a huge, huge failure on Sega's part. I remember when Xbox Arcade started up in the late 2000s when they started doing Xbox 360 Arcade. And the thing with the Xbox Arcade was it was taking a lot of older games and putting them in a new format. And there were some indie games too, but they took some older games and re-released them. And being a part of the PSO community back then, the belief was Sega was going to re-release PSO on the Xbox Arcade. That was the belief, but it never happened. Every year you'll hear, people in the community go, well, this is the year we're going to get a PSO re-release. Nope. Now, before you say that there's no market for it, I just want to remind you that there are multiple, and they all fight with each other. There are multiple fan servers running right now that run this game, including Phantasy Star Universe, which is what came after. But all they need to do is just take Phantasy Star Online Episode 2, the GameCube version, and they could straight port that game to to Switch or something. If God forbid they port it to Steam, they would be soaked in money. Because the community is still there. There's people like me who played it on Dreamcast, who played it on the GameCube, who played it on the Shack server, Blue Burst on PC, and we still want it. And the great thing about it is you would be able to add to it, because the game in its very architecture had the ability to add content to it. I mean, this was the early 2000s when we had 56K modems and tiny little memory cards. And yet we were downloading new quests and new weapons and new boss fights and new story additions to our Dreamcast for PSO. Imagine what they could do now when we all have 6 terabyte NVMe drives and we're all on, 300 megabit connections. So I just don't understand why Sega hasn't done it yet. I mean, Sega has got to be the dumbest goddamn company in video games next to Sony, because I can't understand why PSO, which would be such an easy game just to port straight over. I mean, I played on Dolphin all the time on the Dolphin emulator. And all you need to do is just run it in 4K with anti-aliasing and you're solid. The game still looks gorgeous, even in 2025. It's a simple game. I think a lot of new players who never played the original, a lot of young kids, I really think they would be into it because it's a very simple game. It's very colorful. Soundtrack is good. You can have your buddies come over. It's like the original Diablo. It's just you get a couple buddies together. You play the game. You don't need to learn the instructions. It's all self-explanatory. You go down, kill monsters, collect loot, and have fun. That's all you need. To me, it would be the perfect. It would be the perfect game to introduce a whole new generation to Phantasy Star. Not only that, but not only would you be introducing a whole new generation to Phantasy Star, but then you would be finally honoring all those old fans that really feel left out because you're not catering to them anymore. It's a win-win. It just seems to me like complete money in the bank, and I don't know why Sega won't do it. It's ridiculous. Okay, so coming in at 7. Now, before you say that this is a game that is officially announced, it isn't. Even though it was rumored to, and it's also been rumored to be canceled, and that's the Final Fantasy IX Remaster. Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite Final Fantasies. You know, I always say I like 3, I like 4, I like 6, I like 9. It's hard for me to decide which Final Fantasy is my favorite, but I think if you held a gun to my head, I'd probably say 9 was really the best, because it had that classic Final Fantasy gameplay, and it had one of the best PlayStation soundtracks of that generation. Had a great story, had some great super bosses, was a great Final Fantasy all around. And we want a remaster of it. I mean, Final Fantasy VII got a remaster. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 got the pixel remasters. Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 got a remaster. Final Fantasy 12 got a remaster. Where's Final Fantasy 9? Why? Even Final Fantasy 8 kind of got like a slight remaster, like a soft remaster. But what about 9? 9 has been completely ignored. You know, they ported it to Steam, and that was about it. I mean, there's no difference. All they did was, you know, sharpen the graphics. That was it. A full Final Fantasy IX remaster would be great. I mean, it's money in the bank. So many people love 9. 9's beloved. I mean, is it as beloved as 7? No. But I think next to 7 and 6, it's probably like the second or third most beloved of all the Final Fantasies. So I just don't understand why they haven't officially done it. Every year you hear people like, oh, it's in the Steam database, and oh, they're gonna re-release it. We swear. And then I hear this thing that they supposedly canceled it behind the scenes. Nobody has any proof of this. Nobody knows. It's just baseless rumors and conjecture. I don't know. Who knows? If Square wanted to do it, they would have done it by now. I mean, for crying out loud, Final Fantasy Tactics is getting a remaster, and that's coming out in a month. Why are we not getting Final Fantasy 9? We're getting Final Fantasy Tactics before Final Fantasy 9. I don't get it. Okay, so here's something related to that. Coming in at number 6 on my list of top 10 Mountains of Money game companies refuse to collect on. Number 6 is the Xenogears Remaster. And see, this is another thing you hear a lot about. I've heard rumors of this. I don't know his name, but the guy who did the music, it said that he was dropping hints that Square was rehiring him for something, and people said, oh, that must mean there's going to be a Xenogears Remaster. I don't know. There's no proof. No one has any concrete proof that any work is being done on a Xenogears Remaster. Just baseless rumors. That's it. But to me, it seems like a slam dunk. I mean, I could even go as far as say both Xenogears and Xenosaga should get remasters. All 3 of the Xenosaga games, even though the third one was the one that really, was the only one really worth playing. But yeah, Xenogears would be. That's another game I don't understand why they haven't remastered it. They could give it the HD 2D treatment. Xenogears really needs a remaster, though, not just for the fans and to introduce it to another generation, but it needs a remaster because the second disc in that game was rushed. Those of you who've played it know that the game kind of falls apart on the second disc, and the reason why is because Sony just didn't give a shit about the game, so I heard. So the rumor goes. And they just kind of forced them to finish it. There was a lot of cut content. It was very rushed, and they ended the game, and that was it. it would be nice if they got back, together with Monolith and they said, hey, let's redo Xenogears. We'll get some of the Squaresoft guys. We'll do a collaboration, and we'll, make a whole new second half of the story, and tie it in with Xenogears or Xenoblade, excuse me. So there's a lot of opportunity there. They could tie it in with Xenoblade. They could redo the second half of the game. It's money in the bank. If they're a little bit too lazy and don't want to spend all this time and money in making this new content, then fine. Just HD, 2D that shit and throw it out onto the PlayStation. Fine. I just don't understand why they don't do it. So, that's another thing that's always mystified me. Okay. Number 5. Number 5 of the top 10 mountains of money game companies refuse to collect would be Fallout New Vegas 2. I know this is another thing, right? See, I know every time that Obsidian gets up there, and Microsoft says, oh, Obsidian's going to announce a new game, it's like they did with the Outer Worlds 2. Like, oh, they're going to announce it. They're going to announce a New Vegas 2. No. I remember when Obsidian was first bought by Microsoft a couple years ago. That was the first thing that came out on the forums, as people were like, holy shit, they're going to make a New Vegas 2 because now both Bethesda and Obsidian are owned by Microsoft. So it's a lock, right, guys? Right? No. We still don't have a New Vegas 2, and there's no proof that such a thing is being worked on. So, yeah, New Vegas 2 is something that's wanted, because I'm sorry, but speaking as a Fallout fan, I didn't like Fallout 3, I didn't like Fallout 4, and I especially didn't like Fallout 76. I played Fallout 76 for like 3 hours with a buddy, and I was obscenely bored. Now, I don't know, maybe the game gets better, but if you can't grab me in the first 3 hours, especially when all the other Fallout games did, you lost me. I'm not wasting my time. I played it for free on Game Pass, by the way. I didn't pay for it. To me, both Fallout 3 and 4 are kind of weak. I mean, I beat them. Both beat them a couple times. They're okay, but as far as Fallout goes, no. And it's kind of funny because it seems like all the Bethesda-made Fallout games, 3, 4, and 76, all occur on the East Coast. They're all around Bethesda's offices on the East Coast. Whereas the good Fallout games, like New Vegas, Fallout 1, and Fallout 2, are all on the West Coast. So I think a lot of fans really want Obsidian to have another crack at it. My friend, I have a friend she's really big into Fallout New Vegas, and even she was telling me that the reason why she thinks that New Vegas 2 isn't being made is because Bethesda's butthurt that Obsidian did a better version of Fallout than they did. And so that's why we're never going to see it, because Bethesda's not going to let them do it. So I don't know. Maybe that's, to me, it's money in the bank. Can you imagine if there's a Microsoft pseudo E3 next year, and in the summer they open it up with New Vegas 2? Can you imagine the eruption that would cause online if it was announced Obsidian was making a New Vegas 2? I don't know, man. It's crazy. It would destroy the internet. There'd be nothing left. Except for our top 4. Now we're getting into the really good stuff, right? Okay. So number 4 on my list of mountains of money that are lying unclaimed would be the infamous Bloodborne Remaster. That's another thing I don't understand. Sony has the rights to it. It's their game. It's wanted so bad that Nintendo got together with FromSoft, and they're making their own Bloodborne-style game in the Duskbloods. I remember watching the Nintendo Direct or whatever it was when they did the Duskbloods, and the people that I was watching online with were like, oh, Bloodborne Remaster. It's like, nope. It's something different. I mean, it's Bloodborne except in everything except for name. But the Bloodborne, that's the thing that really shocks me. I mean, I have it for my PS3 and my PS4 because I have it downloaded as part of the Greatest Hits collection. But, that's it. You can't buy it on any other platform. It's not on PC or Steam or even Epic. It's not on Xbox. It's certainly not on the Switch, though the Switch will have Duskbloods. So I don't know. I mean, it's the weirdest thing because it's so wanted, it's so desired, and the problem is the game. If you were to play it legally on a PlayStation 3 right now, okay, which is the only platform that, well, you can play it on PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility, but you play it legally, you're only going to get 30 frames a second. You're going to get 30 frames on it. Now, if you download RCPS, the emulator, and you download the hack for the ISO, you can play it in 60 FPS if you really want to do that. But that's illegal, and I don't recommend that because that's naughty and the police will put you in jail. That being said, I don't understand why, since people will go to such great lengths to have a 60 FPS Bloodborne, to have a Bloodborne with better graphics and on the PC and on different controllers. Why the hell are you not re-releasing this game? The demand is there. People are playing this game on an emulator and making hacks for the friggin' ROM, the ISO, to do the things that they want that you refuse to do. They're willing to pay money. People have the money in their hand. They want it. But it's not materializing. And we've gone 2 console generations and there's still no remaster of Bloodborne. They remaster games that have only been out for like 3-4 years, and this damn company still isn't putting a Bloodborne remaster out. It makes no sense. It's honestly, out of all the games, well, maybe not all of them, but out of all of out of all the FromSoft Souls games, I think it's really the most beloved. And since it has so much love and so many people like it, I don't get why they're not remastering it. They remastered Demon Souls, and that was probably the weakest, in my opinion, of all of them. They remastered the first Dark Souls, right? So, what's next? I mean, like, let's do Bloodborne. We'll probably get a Dark Souls 2 remaster next, and then they'll do a remaster of Dark Souls 3. And then they'll probably do Bloodborne. Probably get a Kingsfield remaster before we get that. So, anyway, that's number 4. So, I'm trying to make this quick, so I'm talking a little fast. I got my water here for my dry throat. So, coming in at number 3 on the top 10 mountains of money game companies refuse to collect on would be Nintendo's Mother 3, an official US release. Now see, this is the one on the entire list that would be the easiest to make, because you literally already have a translation. And you don't have to do anything to the game graphically, because the graphics and the sound are supposed to look retro, so you can leave it where it is. Now, before you say, oh, it's fans that made the translation, it's no big deal. Falcom paid the fans who translated the East games. The East games were translated by fans, and they actually hired the guy who did the translation. I forget his name, but the guy who did the Felghana, and he did Felghana and I think Napishtim, but I know he did Felghana. They hired him as an official translator and paid him money so they could use his translation. It's nothing for Nintendo to give $1 million to the guys who translated Mother 3 and let them divide it. I'm sure they would be happy about that and then have their names in the credits. Sure. To me, it's money in the bank. Can you imagine if Nintendo announced they were going to do a Mother 3 US release on the Switch? Just straight up physical release of Mother 3. The entire universe, the entire gaming universe would shit itself. I know so many people on Steam, and my friend Nick. By the way, go to his channel, Milky Seed. I know if he heard that, if Nintendo was doing an official Mother 3, he would probably die. He would just keel over and die. That would be it. His wife and kid would lose their father and the husband. That would be it. Mother 3, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't know why. They could even do one better by making a collector's edition and having like the little claymation characters, done in the style of the strategy guide. They could have like have it come with a what do you have, like a developer's commentary where Itoy talks about how he made it, what his feelings were, whatever, whatever. But hey, just do a straight release of it on the Switch. Bam, there you go. I mean, how easy could it be? That's just so much money sitting on the table, and for whatever reason, Nintendo won't take it. There's no licensing issues. They own it. It's their game. I mean, there was the licensing worries about licensing with Earthbound's music, Mother 2, but that's right now you can play that on the Switch. It's on their online service. I mean, if you don't want to release a physical release, how about just releasing Mother 3 on Switch Online? Why not? You already have the first two Mother games on there. Why not make the third on there? I don't understand why they don't do that. It's money in the bank. Okay, so enough crazy rambling. So now we're down to the top two. These are the two most important piles of money that nobody has claimed yet. And coming in at number 2, I had to take a big swig for that one. Coming in at number 2 is Half-Life 3. Half-Life 3 is rumored to being worked on. As a matter of fact, this summer there was a big rumor that Valve was going to announce it. They did not. There is another rumor that I have heard that Valve and Gabe Newell are working with Microsoft in tandem, not on that handheld, that new Microsoft handheld they got working, which has Steam on it, and that's a good sign. The ROG Ally X, that's good. But there is a strong rumor I have heard that Steam wants to try the Steam machines again. And there is a rumor going around that I've heard on several places, keep in mind it's just a rumor, that Valve wants to make a console that bridges the gap between console and PC, even more so than, the Xbox already has. And they want to make these new Steam machines, and they're going to run on Linux, like the Steam Deck does, on Steam OS. And the first release for it is going to be a console-exclusive version, the Steam Machine exclusive version of Half-Life 3. That's the rumor that's going around right now. Sounds a little crazy, but who knows? I never would have guessed that Microsoft would partner with Steam for a handheld and have Steam pre-installed on it. So, I don't know. That alone is a little weird. So, yeah. Half-Life 3 would be monumental. Can you imagine if Half-Life 3 was announced right now? If they just came out and said Half-Life 3? The internet would implode. It would be even worse than Mother 3. Half-Life 3, we've been left hanging. Half-Life 2, Episode 2 left everybody hanging. And when did that come out? Like the Orange Box, around the time the Orange Box came out, around 2010 or something? Yeah, so it's been like 15 years and we don't know what's happened at the end of Half-Life 2. Like, what the frig's going on? And everybody wants it. It's considered one of the greatest shooters of all time, and yet there is no sequel. They have not done anything to even hint that they might be making a Half-Life 3. Except the Half-Life Alyx was a hit. And then people thought, well, maybe they'll do 3 next, but who knows? But it's just one of those things. It's just a mountain of money. All they have to do is make it. And it's not like Gabe Newell and Valve, Steam. It's not like they need money. Because they certainly don't need money. But it's there. If they ever, if Gabe needs to buy another mansion in New Zealand, I'm sure a Half-Life 3 release could buy a few more of those mansions. So I don't know. That's another thing that that shocks me. I don't get why it doesn't exist. Okay, so number 1. What is the number 1 game? The number 1 mountain of money that game companies have refused to collect on. What is the number 1? Any ideas? What's the one game that I didn't mention yet that everybody wants? That everybody who loves RPGs has been crying for about 20, 25 years. What have they been crying for? That's right, a Chrono Trigger 3D remake. Now, it doesn't have to be 3D. It could just be a straight 2D remake, kind of like HD 2D or whatever. But me and a friend were talking, and he said, "Why don't they make it be cell shaded in 3D like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot?" And I thought, that's a really good idea. That would be a perfect style. They could maintain that, anime look that Akira Toriyama was going for, honor his work by going in that style. Would make him happy if he was still around. Sort of looking down from heaven, saying, "Hey, that'd be great." And it would add new life into a game that's already had a couple remasters. You had the one on the DS, and there was one released on Steam. But they're just basic unaltered versions of the game. Except the one on DS had a new super boss, I think. But just imagine if they made a Chrono Trigger 3D remake. I mean, Square has made so many remasters and remakes, but yet Chrono Trigger, their biggest hit, they've completely shied away from. They remade Chrono Cross, which I didn't even like. I beat it once back in the day and never played it again. I didn't buy the remaster. I thought about it, but I just don't like the game. It's just not a very good game. I'm sorry. But Chrono Trigger, one of the greatest RPGs ever made, you could argue that it is the greatest RPG ever made. And they've done nothing. Now, I know I've heard rumors, people have told me that they believe the reason why they don't touch it is because Squaresoft is pissed. Because that was a Dream Team game. And you had guys who weren't part of Squaresoft. When you have you have the Dragon Quest guy and you have the Dragon Ball guy. And they're coming together and making a game that you don't really have complete control over. So maybe in a way the Square CEO, the Square white shirts, the executives are looking at it like, man, that really wasn't our game. So we're kind of embarrassed that we didn't make it for real. So I don't know. It could be like Fallout New Vegas 2, where it's just the developers butt mad that it's not really their own game, and it's the game that everybody likes better than the games they make. It's like people like Chrono Trigger, the original Chrono Trigger, better than Final Fantasy, and people like Fallout New Vegas better than they like Fallout 3 and 4 and 76. So I don't know. Maybe there's truth to that, but regardless, that's my top 10 list of games that... Now, all these games would make mountains of money, but yet for some reason they do not exist, and we don't know if they are going to exist in this country. So maybe one day, maybe this video will fly through the ether and make things happen. I don't know. No, never gonna happen. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any ideas on what you think should be in this list, I'm going to be like all these other popular YouTubers and create some interaction. Then let me know, because actually I will read them. I'm curious because, me and my buddy at work were talking about this, and he came up with a lot of games. He said the first Pokemon games, like Red and Blue or whatever they are, that they should redo them because they go online for several $100s, so I don't know. So I'm sure there's other games that are money in the bank, and if you know of them, let me know, and hell, make your own video. I actually would be interested to see what other opinions people have about that. So later, and everybody, have a good night.